How many cultures do you think exist in Crusader Kings 3? Not all of them appear on the map at once, but the game features around 59 culture groups. Some, like the Gothic, contain just a single culture, while others, such as Turkic, include as many as 18. But would it surprise you if I told you there are over 240 cultures in the game? A large chunk of that was added recently with the release of All Under Heaven. So why do I bring up culture? I thought it'd be interesting to shine a light on one I've barely interacted with, the Ainu. Both in-game and in real life, the Ainu predominantly live on the northern island of Hokkaido and are among the original inhabitants of the Japanese archipelago. My introduction to them actually came through an anime called Golden Kamuy, which follows a Russian-Japanese war veteran searching for a hidden Ainu gold treasure aided by a young Ainu girl. If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth adding to your watch list. So what does this have to do with CK3? Decided it would be fun to play as an Ainu ruler with the ultimate goal of conquering all of Japan. Starting as a humble count in Hokkaido, we would first unite the island and then push south against the Japanese Empire in 1066 start. For this run, we'd stay as a duke until we could make a custom kingdom encompassing all of Japan. We've also added more damage to advantage battle rolls. Finally, we need to reform our faith. Let's take a look at how our Ainu revenge campaign unfolded. We kicked off our Ainu campaign with a custom-made character, hoping to forge a commander strong enough to go toe-to-toe with the Japanese Empire. Get out there and see what we can do with our character Onipis. Step one, of course, was to produce some heirs so that the dynasty wouldn't collapse before it even began. There's an odd bug or maybe a feature. Every time you try to seduce someone and are successful in another court, you're instantly exposed. No blackmail, no intrigue buildup, just congrats, you're now known as a fornicator. Everybody knows she's my lover, that's fine. Thankfully, we married our lover, so in theory, all sins should be wiped clean, right? Tragedy struck early. Our wife and 2 of our children were killed by rebels during a siege of our capital. They killed 2 of our kids. Oh, shit. They killed my wife too, so never mind, our sickly daughter? About to be the baddest bitch around. We pushed outwards, conquering most of Hokkaido and securing a ducal title in the process. With the north nearly unified, we spotted an opening to snatch some land from Japan while they were deep in a civil war. Let's see how this goes for us. Huge stack wipe. That's how it went. The fucking revenge. The Ainu revenge is on. They never knew. They never saw it coming. That first war went smoothly, mostly because the empire hasn't transitioned into a Soryo government yet. Once they do, things get far more complicated. Their vassals become much more willing to join their side, swelling their armies by thousands. To avoid any messy succession issues, we ended up throwing most of our children in prison so they could expire on schedule. Straight to jail with all of them. Why? Because we have equal inheritance and I have my heir. And I don't need them. After that, we shifted our focus to antagonizing the Japanese. Holding land on the main island let us repeatedly raid the imperial capital, draining their strength and creating opening for factions to rise up and trigger civil wars. The raids also brought in a steady stream of gold we could pour into activities and other plans. We got hit by an earthquake, which forced us to spend some of that hard-earned cash to stabilize the region. Quake is affecting this region, which I guess this is my homie, but this land isn't as important. Then the Great Liao managed to rope us into tribute status because I didn't read the fine print on a pop-up. Not the worst thing in the world, just annoying since we definitely don't need their help from a random AI neighbor. Send him a poem. Maybe it will stress him out. Here that's been working on people pretty well. By 1094, we found ourselves at war with Japan again, but this one wasn't going as smoothly. I thought our alliance with Korea would tip the scales, but they got wiped almost instantly. Well, we threw that away, but that being said, luckily the emperor died soon after, giving us another shot in 1097. We launched another war, this time aiming to take the imperial capital and weaken them even further. Something we managed to pull off, partially thanks to a plague ravaging the region. With more Yamato culture subjects under our rule, we set out on a grand tour to get rid of the culture acceptance penalties we were suffering. By 1100, we finally decided to reform our faith. This is so that we can marry into other families of Buddhist faiths and stuff like that. This one is so that we don't get infirmed and our inspiration for artifacts gets higher and we can still kill bears. We finally threw off the yoke of the Great Liao and started raiding their lands for quick gold and a nice bit of prestige. And for those who do not know, the best way to get instant prestige spike is by defeating armies larger than you. The best time to do it was while raiding because they will show up and you can then whip their butts. In 1103, a new emperor took the throne, and you know what that means: war. At first, everything went smoothly. Our smaller, better led army was carving through their forces without issue. But as the war dragged on, they started swarming us with sheer numbers, and keeping up became harder and harder. We're gonna slowly bleed them. It's gonna be okay. No need to worry, chat. Everything's gonna be great. Also, it would help if we did have all of our army troops. We can also switch back to this, so we have even more advantage now. By the summer of 1108, it was finally over. We won, and probably wiped out a huge chunk of able-bodied men in the process. I really wish CK3 showed total war casualties like EU4 and Victoria, but unfortunately those numbers will stay a mystery to us. We also changed our mystical ancestry culture tradition because we needed to disinherit a few of our characters. Warriors by Marriott. I think that's the one we want replaced. And then we can go here, and while still keeping them around for alliances and council positions. From 1113 to 1116, we took yet another duchy from Japan, and you might be wondering, why are you not taking whole kingdoms? You've passed the threshold for the CB. Well, I was worried that the kingdom would automatically form instead of letting me create a custom one, but apparently I was wrong on that. Then in 1117, we saw the death of our boy. His world of 84 years old, he died of old age, and he shameless fornicator. Yeah, he was. He fought in 22 wars. Is that true? 15 offensive? That's crazy. His granddaughter succeeded him, not as strong of a commander yet, but we can train her up into something great soon. At this point in the run, things are about to get a lot dicier. One major reason is that we're going to start exceeding our vassal limit, which means losing money and fielding fewer levies to fight our wars. The counter to that, we need to keep our legitimacy high so people actually like us and are less likely to rebel. The best way to do that, hold a funeral for our grandfather. 84, pretty old. We're 22, we're a witch. To speed up our character's progress in martial lifestyle, we paid exorbitant university admission fees, hoping we would net a few extra perk points and maybe even a boost our education trait. But while we were busy hitting the books, and some clown decided to attack us and try to pull our lands under his control. Unfortunately, all of our good commanders were away, so we had to hire mercenaries just to scrape together a quick white piece. That's going to give us 44%, and that's enough for our white piece. Then we got incredibly lucky. Somehow the Yamato family clawed their way back into power. What's going on here? This is one Tenno Yamato Shinegaru of Japan. He is... What happened? I guess having 10 emperors over the course of 62 years helps. But the important part is they switched back Ritsuryo, making it much easier for us to take them down because their vassals weren't swarming. By 1137, we declared a kingdom level CB on them, which is a great way to scoop up a ton of land fast. Not only does it give you everything inside that kingdom, but any province we capture and still control by the end of the war also gets added to our realm. So for most of the war, our focus was on sieging down Kyushu. We could have pushed farther and grabbed the rest. That should be it. Okay. So unfortunately for us, we do miss out on much of the things. But every kingdom, do we get this kingdom title? That's the question we don't know the answer to. I was worried that outside powers would start eyeing us while we were stretched thin. And sure enough, Korea snagged part of the north while we weren't paying close attention, which means we'll have to break with our long-time alliance sooner rather than later. We had the wherewithal to check our succession and disinherited a few of our kids, which turned out to be a smart move because in 1148, we were suddenly murdered by our vassal, completely at random. Even with a solid spy master and a decent bodyguard. In the middle of the night, I see a dark guy. What? Okay. That's good timing that we did that, I guess. And either way, it's now up to Sanuri to finish the last stretch. 4 gold, that's huge. All those titles that we don't have to make, that's actually the biggest bonus of our mother dying is all those titles. In 1158, we fought the Empire one final time, taking one of the last counties that the emperor personally held. That pushed his vassals over the edge, and they rose up and tore the empire apart. When the emperor doesn't have actual land, what happens? So he's in a war where he's defending. Well, I guess the person just gets taking war score because they automatically control all their lands, which is interesting. That left us just one final duchy standing between us and full control of Japan. With that victory, we finally were able to make the decision to form a custom kingdom to unite all of Japan, along with several surrounding duchies, into one powerful realm under Ainu control. So if we were to... The men's... Oh, dude, we took over the mainland too. I didn't realize that. Well, and we have land up here. Well, that's my bad. I didn't realize that. All right, so we're gonna take that Northern Kingdom name that was up here. Oh, that's some bullshit. Don't look at this part. Don't look at that part. That part doesn't exist. But we have united Japan under the Ainu and our faith. The lands have not completely converted yet, which is interesting. How's Europe doing? We never really checked in on them. HRE is massive. France is losing to England constantly. It looks like the Maghrebs are big and strong. What happened there? That's scary. They own southern Italy, Sardinia. Man, they're really making waves in the Mediterranean. It looks like the Maghrebs are also taking on the Byzantines. Holy shit, Maghrebs. But yes, this is the end of our Revenge of the Ainu campaign. It took a decent amount of time. I was almost thwarted there a couple times. That could have been real bad. I don't know why we should have way more land or more troops than what we're getting right now. It feels like. But all these guys are now demanding what? Dissolution faction? As soon as we get... Oh, it's basically... Oh, that's right. We have too many duchies. We have way too many duchies. That's what's happening here. I was like, why are they so pissed? It's because 270 duchies. Don't look at that. That doesn't matter. That's not unrelated. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And as always, have a good rest of your day. Ciao.